That's how they got the moon landing contract, which they're a good 6+ years behind schedule on. Who is it being rigged by? Right? Who is it being rigged by? That's my confusion here. Because initially everyone at NASA was very haughty and like, SpaceX, that's not going to be a thing. So NASA isn't rigging it. Who the fuck is rigging this thing? Very confusion over here. But let's continue. And by the way, Jubilee, fuck off if you want to try and copyright claim that goddamn section. Piss off.
You know, to make sure everybody got their needs met. So yes, I guess to answer your question, if we're talking about today's society where we're at with all the billionaires, that's what I would do.
I would bring us back to 1950s tax rates in the United States. 91% tax rates on the highest tax.
Which, by the way, was a temporary war. Was supposed to be a temporary war tax. That was supposed to be a temporary tax. The income tax is just going to be a temporary tax. You know, just to recover from the war. Of course, this guy's like, no, bring us back to that. And then it's going to be, well, we're not getting enough from the billionaires and millionaires. We gotta move it down a peg. 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 That's how it always happens, right? That's what happened with the income tax. It moved way down. Pardon me.
I love the framing though. Like, we gotta go back to wartime measures. We gotta go to wartime measures. Why? Who are we fighting? Our own citizens.
Mm.
As it always is with war.
Yeah. It's like I would call it a Freudian slip.
That may be it.
Let's explain what that means.
So you want a 91% slavery, people?
No.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't know about that terminology.
Hold on.
Not slavery.
Hold on.
And of course it's not, and I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm really not.
We're talking about a tax on people that are making more than $10 million per year on every dollar above $10 million. Wow. Let's say that. Up to that point, does anybody really need to live?
Not about fucking need, you bastard. And by the way, I didn't like this guy. He was fucking counter-signaling her before. He was like, well, let's not call it slavery. Let's not call it slavery. Shut up, you goddamn bastard. Shut up, okay? Stop undermining your own case. Go ahead, make all the terrible arguments you want, so long as you don't fucking undermine the people making the correct arguments. Yeah, and she asked a great question there. How do they make that? Right? How do they make that wealth? How is that wealth being made? Like, this guy is my most hated right now. The guy in the kit.
I'm glad that Carrie Ann Harris actually mentioned the word slavery here. It's important to call it out for what it is. It's a bit late, but it's good that she is actually trying to hit it from that angle. For what it actually is. You know, even 1% is slavery, but still.
On more than $10 million.
When is it your place to decide that?
It should be everybody's place.
It's not my place to decide. What I don't.
Here's a question. It should be everybody's place to decide that. Well, I disagree. Oh, so everybody doesn't agree. So, okay, I guess we're going to move on. We're not going to have that ask. Well, hold on. But he doesn't really mean that, does he? He means it's the government's place. It's the government's place. He doesn't actually mean it should be everybody's place. It should be everybody's place, because then you could just say, no, I don't agree to that tax. It's like, shucks, guys, I guess we got to go home. Like, that's not what he believes.
Yeah, and there's two things here. It's they either go through, okay, the state should decide and whatever. But the first road they go is they mask it on the democracy. Okay, if more people vote, if the majority of people vote to rape everyone else, therefore we do so. And if they refuse, we're gonna put a little amendment to the law that says you cannot actually protest against this because it's for the good of our state, for the good of our people, for the good of humanity. It's a right, it's a right to have your money taken away from you and spent by the state to do this. Like they either go the democracy route or they go the more honest route, which is, okay, we want it ratified and you cannot contest it anymore. People should be able to decide what others are doing with their stuff, except for when the law says no, and this law is whatever we want it to be in our ideal world.
But don't worry, guys. Casimir says that apparently this guy's name is Kastenbaum, the guy that I'm starting to hate. He's going to give him a stern talking to during the next Zionist world domination meeting. So thank you, Casimir. We've got our man on the inside there. Casimir's going to control the weather over his house to be rain clouds or something.
Care what you listen. You could go out and blow all your money on a stripper, and I don't care.
Listen, we live in a world where the private corporations have been given so much that has been taken from all of us.
No. Hold on. He's mixing his metaphors here. they've been given so much which has been taken. No, they were given so much in voluntary transactions. It wasn't taken. You know who did take so much? The government, who you want to have all this money and all this power. That's who took so much, right? The corporations were indeed given so much. They were given it voluntarily, right? In mutually beneficial trade, because they're good at what they do, because they're profitable, because they are mutually beneficial, because they make good products.
And not just that, but he put in the framework, because we live in a society. That's what he wanted to say. He went Joker mode for a second. Because we live in a society, therefore we must have these things.
Also, Sulu, like, do you distinguish between corporations and companies?
Not really. I mean, I know Tick does, but I don't really care that much to do it. I understand that there
I suppose it's not irrelevant for this, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I know there is such a thing as like a, quote unquote company, which isn't really like a private, which isn't really doing anything private. It's just entirely like an arm of the state in effect. Like, over here, the bus companies are effectively that. The train companies are effectively that. Like, they just have monopoly grants by the state. The East India Company is basically just an arm of the state. Like, it's not doing free enterprise. Like, I accept that there's such a thing as that. And sure, corporation sounds like a fine word to it, but that's not what a Marxist is saying when he's saying corporation. He just means big company. He just means really, really big company, which is not the same thing.
I agree.
You have to disagree with something you said earlier, that we are much better off now than we were in like the 1950s. Racial bias and everything notwithstanding, people had more housing. People had more access
Houses
to
were a
housing.
tenth of the.
Whoa, they had more housing? Damn, I wonder who fucked that for everyone. Could it be the zoning laws? Could it be the government? Nah.
It's they can never understand cause and effect, these people. Never, not one time can they do it successfully.
They don't want to.
Yeah.
Louis Rossmann actually had a nice video on this where he was, he had his set up his office in New York, if I'm not mistaken, initially, and I thought it was California, whatever. It was one of these stupid locations with a lot of regulation on actual properties and building stuff. He was highlighting how some of the buildings that he was looking at as he was strolling down the road had like these thousands of build permits on their windows. And in order to actually build or renovate something, you need 1,000 build permits that must be acquired in sequential order. But by the time you get the last one you need, the first one expires. So you're in this Kafkaesque loop where you never are ever going to get to building anything because you need these permissions from the government. They expire before you get them all. It's so insane. Like, I wonder who put these terms and who issues these permissions, these slips.